Stand by. Okay, go live. Okay, that's all right. That's okay. I just want to get the audience in first. Of course, the giveaway, Spen, of it being a Mark III is the paddle blades, isn't it?
Yes.
The old these are the first alloy blades that they used, as opposed to the wooden blades of the earlier variants. And of course, the reason why they used wood was because if, under the circumstances, they had to belly land it without any undercarriage, it wouldn't damage the engine. It would just, luckily, the blades would just snap and splinter, whereas these ones will just tear up an engine internally, and it's a write-off, basically. So when we've got a decent audience, Gilly, let me know, and then we'll have a little walk round her. So folks, good afternoon from the UK and from the county of Lincolnshire. We are at the Lincolnshire Aviation Heritage Centre at East Kirkby. This is an almost living museum, and this is probably one of the most extensive restoration projects on the planet. I know a lot of restorations have been done in the US with B-17s, and of course don't forget the Avro Vulcan that was over here, but this is a 10-year project that these guys have been working on, and this is NX611 Just Jane. She was the gate guardian at Scampton for many years, and she sat there until she was put up for sale. And you can find out all the information, a great guide on the aircraft and its history on linksaviation.co.uk if you want to go and check those guys out there. So this is a Mark III variant Lancaster. We were just discussing it with Spen here, who's the electrical engineer on the Lancaster Bomber here. They have a number of volunteers, some paid, some volunteers obviously, but a great group of guys who are working tirelessly to bring this bomber back to airworthy condition. How far would you say we're off, Spen?
8 years.
About another 8 years, yeah?
Another 8 years.
Wow, she's got a long way to go then. So let's just take a walk around her. Let's go up nice and close if you want, folks, because that's what we're here for. We've got the access. Thanks, mate. I do have Spenny here with me. Spen, say hello to the crew.
Hey guys.
Hey. We were lucky enough with our channel members earlier on today to get a look inside the aircraft. So it was first exclusive to our channel members. What we're going to be doing here is just to give you a little show of what's happening. They do taxi runs here at the centre. Taxi runs. There's two different groups that you can go on, which is around about £300 and £400 respectively. Just so they're getting a briefing basically at the moment about positioning themselves inside the aircraft, because obviously it's very, very tight inside there, and of course it's I don't think it's a mad scramble for position, but obviously I'd say the cockpit is probably one of the prime positions, as well as obviously the mid-upper gunner. Yeah, bomb aimer's position as well. So we'll get a look at them. They're just going on board the aircraft now. What you're seeing down there, folks, is the H2S dome, or the H2X dome, as this one particularly is. That's the American variant. And see these fantastic undercarriage. I believe they're Doughty. That Doughty built those undercarriage legs. Did, yeah. Still today, but obviously all folded up with Safran because they joined up with Bugatti later on, and Bugatti Bugatti, Doughty, and it was somebody else. I'm sure someone will put me in the picture there. Of course, these are the alloy blades on the Mark III, the paddle blades as they were called. So these are Merlin XX engines. These are the XX V12 engines, all petrol and water cooled. Yep. And so here is, look at this bomb bay, folks. I mean, that's capable of carrying the 12-ton tall boy, 8,000-pound bomb, as well as a full array of 500-pounders, which you can see in there. And what they used to do, not that we like to talk about the bombing itself, but the procedures would normally be later on in the war. They'd carry a high number of incendiary candles, as they were called. They'd carry a cookie with them, drop the cookie. That would literally, the blast would blow all the tiles off the roofs. Then they drop the incendiaries, and that would create the fires, which was a great shame, it has to be said. War is a terrible, terrible thing. But even so, this was one of the workhorses of the war, and one of the workhorses that actually won us the war, to be perfectly honest with you. Anyway, now, interestingly enough, these tyres, they didn't use the treaded tyres in the actual in the wartime aircraft. I think they were just untreaded. They were just flat because they didn't really have time to actually manufacture.
It's like a lot of things, I think. They used what they could get their hands on.
Yes,
because
exactly.
There were actually some Lancasters that had radial engines.
Yes, yes.
Whatever they had at the time on the production line, I think.
Yeah. Of course, we need to remember that this came after the first variant of the Lancaster, which was a twin engine, which had horrendous engines on it. The Manchester, yes, had horrendous engines on it. Multiple failures, and so the Air Ministry said, look guys, you got to bolt another couple of engines on there, and that's how they came up with the Lancaster Bomber. So like Spen was saying there, you literally had to make do with what you had in terms of materials, and let's remember also that these aircraft were manufactured with the help of people's pots and pans and steel railings, and obviously not a lot of steel on here, but certain components did have steel in them, and especially brass and copper for the wiring, and definitely brass as well. So a lot of pots and pans went into making these aircraft. So just looking at just going through the actual restoration, here's a perfect example of how dedicated you guys are. We can see the starboard side vertical stabilizer with the rudder on it.
Open the window.
Oh, sorry. No. I'm talking about that one over there. No. And this is the port stabilizer, which you can see has still yet to be painted and finished, but it gives us a good idea, because we've been recently spending a lot of time at Toulouse in France, where you see the modern day aircraft in their raw state, and this is a perfect example of what those aircraft the state they're in, by looking at this in its unpainted state.
Well, these were totally rebuilt.
Yes,
because the leading edge was rotten, and it was a mahogany leading edge.
Yes.
So that more or less fell apart. So we've now got an ash leading edge. The rudder itself was completely rebuilt due to corrosion.
Yes.
So to all intents and purposes, that's a brand new structure.
That's very impressive. So what's the cover on the leading edge then? Is that just weathering for
some
protection?
It's some kind of fabric. I don't know what they use.
Okay.
It's some kind of fabric that's been doped on.
Right, I see. Well, that's an amazing. So you say that's an ash leading edge?
There's an ash leading edge in there. Yes,
that's incredible. And that's been formed. How's that been formed like that?
We got a specialist company to do that for us.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's where the money from the from these taxi runs goes to primarily, is obviously the upkeep of the museum, but a lot of the proceeds obviously go towards the aircraft's restoration. So still a long way to go. So we've got the rear turret there. We were talking earlier on the channel members show spent.
Yes.
That's the 50 cal.
Just the 50 cal, yes.
Yeah, it's not the pop gun.
No, it's not the 303.
Yeah, yeah, and we also discussed about the fact that sometimes the rear gunners would remove the perspex, yeah, just for a better view, basically.
Clarity, yes, yeah.
And of course they freeze up sometimes,
yes.
that screen. And of course, by simply rotating the turret at 90 degrees, he could literally back out and drop out the aircraft in the case of a...
That's right.
Yeah. If there was no other way.
If there was no other way. Well, he's got no other way to get out, to be quite honest, if anything goes wrong. So.
Should we just have a little quick look and see if we can... So this is where the empty shell, the empty cartridges would disperse. On board in the mid upper turret, there was actually, it captured them, didn't it? There was some netting or
canvas bags.
Yes.
Same as at the front as well.
Yes.
Canvas bag at the front.
Yes. So I think it's a little bit busy on board there, folks. To is that sprung that rear steer? Is that's
There is an oleo in it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and these are all just basically inspection panels.
They're just inspection. If you go inside these two,
Yep.
you get access to the bolts, to the 4 bolts that actually mount this to the.
Just 4 bolts.
Just 4 bolts.
That's incredible. Well, it is incredible, but then it's not a surprise really when you look at even wings of modern aircraft nowadays. They're held on by bolts.
Yes.
Very strong ones, it has to be said, but they're still bolts. So you can see, folks, everybody getting into position. That fella there, very luckily, in the Astrodome. And some little kid up there who's never going to forget that experience, is he? Up there in the cockpit. So it looks like they're moving all the stuff away, and we are imminently going to be firing this baby up.
About 5 minutes, I would say.
Around about 5 minutes, okay, thank you, sir. She will taxi out onto the airfield, and we are going to get all 4 engines starting up. Now, what will happen first is let's get in tight with this guy who's. Can he explain what he's doing, I wonder? Can you explain to the audience what you're doing, sir?
I'm just getting the ladder in the correct position, and then can you see it there?
Yes.
Okay. There's. I'll point it out to you. What
Yes.
we do. When we're asked to by the crew on the flight deck, we come up here and we select either the out or the inboard engines on these 2 valves. Then we undo this. This is a priming pump, and we press this in until we get pressure, and then we give a agreed amount of pushes on here, and that primes the air. Like that. Today, because it's a warm day, we'll probably give 5 per engine, and that lines the top of the engine with fuel, creating an extra rich mixture, which will make it start.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Well explained. So there you go. So basically priming the engines as they have done on older aircraft for many a year, and cars, of course. Okay. So we've got the fire crew standing by. We do have some spots of rain, which we're not going to let that affect us. So again, folks, this is a live museum. Just have a look at the work, the control tower over there. It's a great place to visit here, and of course they've got all the vehicles.
Good afternoon,
And okay, here we go.
We're only 5 minutes or so away from our afternoon taxi ride run with the Lancaster. So the ground crew should be setting the ropes up for your own safety. If you are positioned between the Lancaster and the NAFI, we will need you to move to one side, please. If you're here with pets or young children, please do be aware of the noise of the engines. So if you're in doubt, make sure your pet's a fair way away from the aircraft, please.
So it looks like 3 and 4 is start-up sequence, 3, 4, and then 2 and 1.
2 and 1.
Yeah.
You could always hope.
Anyone wondering? It is petrol. It's a
100 octane.
100 octane petrol. So race car.
But it's what they call avgas. It's aviation.
Yes. Okay. I see. So it's a bit more than 134 a litre.
Oh, definitely. Either in dollars or pounds. It wouldn't
Yeah.
make any difference.
Yeah.
Sort of empty your wallet.
Yeah.
Normally, when the fuel are up, it's 300 gallons a side.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, they're not using that for these taxi runs, are they?
I think there was about 200 a side in this morning.
Is it?
So
Wow.
we'll be filling up.
So 100 per motor, basically. 100. Each motor is using around about 100 gallons, was it? Did you say, or litres?
Yeah, no, gallons.
100 gallons. Wow.
Yeah, it's in gallons. So yeah, I mean, there's a board in the hangar that actually tells you how much fuel you use on a taxi run, and it is a little bit more than your average family car.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so understandably, we have to have fire and rescue here. You can see Andrew Panton, he's the curator of the museum, and Brad, chief engineer, I called him earlier.
Yes.
So Brad looking like the fella off that TV show, what was it?
Sorry? You ready? I'll be about 3 minutes.
How's the audience looking, GP? Happy?
My eyes have gone out of my...
I think we'll move around that side.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then we'll just as she fires up. Okay, as you can see, folks, she's totally authentic. Everything in her, apart from obviously the mid upper, but part of the reason why they've done that is obviously because of the fact that it's easier for them to run do the taxi runs and accommodate as many people as they can on the aircraft. And of course, it is a fantastic view from up there. Let's not forget. What's the history behind the name again?
What, just Jane?
Yes, it was.
That's the name of the aircraft that I'm just trying to remember the names now. The two older Panthers, Harold and the other one. They had a brother.
Yes.
I can't remember his
On
name.
Halifax.
That's right. He was on the Halifax when he died, and just Jane was the name of his aircraft.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is, if you like, the whole museum,
Yes,
or the whole heritage centre, because it's not actually a museum, the whole heritage centre,
yes,
it's a tribute to their brother.
yes, yes, most definitely, yeah. Who was lost on the Nuremberg raid.
That's right, yes.
In a Halifax 2, I believe.
I think it was, yeah.
So this is this rain is just typical, isn't it? It's just typical. Well, hopefully it's just little spits and spots, and that'll be enough. So the steps have been moved away now by the man with the amazing eyebrows. Looks like this gentleman here is going to be giving the signal to the pilot that he's ready to fire up. I think we have to wait for some people to move out of the prop wash area. This is a pretty phenomenal sound, folks. If you've never heard a Merlin engine starting up, one Spitfire is enough, but 4 of them, you're in for a treat.
do the mosquito run.
I think I will.
You are loud and clear, Hamlin.
They do have a mosquito here as well, folks. A taxiing
Mosquito.
mosquito, yes.
Radio check, over. Receiving US also confirmation and over. Radio check, over.
Oh,
That's the fuel pump going.
yes, I was just going to say it sounds like a fuel pump, so here we go, folks. Okay, so these guys are now getting themselves into position to, I guess, activate everything. He's disconnecting the, possibly disconnecting.
Priming the,
Oh, he's priming them, is he? Okay. The observant amongst you may see that the ailerons are actually missing off the aircraft, but they're in restoration at the moment. So obviously, as you can appreciate, it's really important that you know, each component is restored to flying condition, airworthiness. 7,752 Lancasters built, I believe, during the campaign, and 2 flying, BBMF Lancaster, and of course the Lantern Lanc out in Canada, a different aircraft, one of the Canadian Lancasters, and of course Canada building a high percentage of those Lancasters as well. And the Merlin engines being manufactured out in Canada as well, I believe. But other than that, this is the only taxiing under its own power. And you are in for a treat, folks. Lancaster Just Jane NX611. So folks, now he will make his way out onto the infield, which was once the runway here at East Kirkby. Don't forget, this was a bomber base, 57 and was it 605?
I think so, yeah, 605.
57 and 603 squadron, sorry. Yeah, or 630, yeah, one of the two, three. 630 squadron. This is typical English weather, I have to say. Yeah. So he'll make his way up to the top end, and then swing up 180 degrees. There we go. And then she'll do a very, very short spurt of the engines at full pelt. Not doing, I thought we would. Okay, maybe now I'll do it. Maybe a slightly different procedure than the last one then. Maybe something down to the wet grass perhaps,
Could be.
Spen. Because once it gets a little bit slick, then you wouldn't want to sort of like have to slam the brakes on too hard on a Lancaster Bomber, but unless he's going to do it this end. I think he might be doing it this end, in which case let's just move out here a little bit, because that he's swinging it round a lot further down than he did last time. Sorry guys. Okay, here we go, here we go. Now listen to this. Imagine all the crews waving them off, all the wafts, green light. Quite the full power run up through the gate. Here we go. But we are going to get a treat. I think we'll get ourselves in position this time, Spen. Because we get a cacophony of V12 Merlins when she comes up here and really lays it on. course, a 7-man crew on board a Lancaster, rear gunner, mid-upper, bomb aimer, pilot, of course, radio operator, wireless operator, and the engineer. I think they were 11 or 12 in a B-17, but half of those were gunners. Here we go. Now, we want to get the full pelt with this one. Oh, okay, maybe a little bit. I don't want to get in people's way, obviously. Got to be conscious of that.
He's not coming in yet.
No, he's not, is he?
She's on the way in now. The ground crew are moving. So.
Okay, here we go.
This will be a turnaround and a pull in.
Excuse me, folks. Just got to do this. Sorry about that. Okay, so she's turning to pull in now. I'm moving myself. Here we go. Get yourself down here. You right, Julie? Everything good? Audio good? Because this is when we really need the audio. Here we go. Don't forget air brakes, air assisted brakes on this Lancaster. That's why you sometimes heard the hiss of the brakes if you watch any of the videos online and you see them taxiing, and especially on board. Here we go. behaved herself this time.
She did, yeah.
Let's go and get some sound bites. At least one sound bite from one of the. Sorry about the little spot of moisture on the lens there, folks. Right at the end.
Also, our thanks to our ground and fire crews today.
How's that, mate?
Brilliant. That's fantastic.
Good stuff. Yeah, what an experience, guys. What an experience. Don't forget, linksaviation.co.uk is where you need to go to find out more about what they do here at the Heritage Centre. linksaviation.co.uk. Moving up the steps.
I'm staying out.
Okay.
10 guests to get through.
Now, hopefully, I wonder how what the options are in terms of us doing another quick one inside. I know they've got these lot to come off.
Yeah.
What's happening after that?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
No, that's fine, man.
We're only down for 2 runs today.
Yeah, yeah. Now, here's our man who's going to give us a...
This man might know. Bradley.
Bradley's given us a run-up sequence, aren't you? Just a starter sequence. Sequence later on, yeah.
That was good, wasn't it?
It was good. I'm pleased with that.
It didn't go pop bang.
Didn't go pop back.
Some nice flames on the starter bout of number 3 there.
Was it?
Or number 2 rather.
Number 2, yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I don't know if we picked that up, but...
It's always spectacular. If I can see the far side of the engine from my side, you go, that would be a big one then.
Wow.
We have had a meeting over the top of the cowling.
Have you really? Wow, nice,
That's brown
nice.
trousers when that happened.
Okay, well, hope everybody enjoyed that exclusive experience. Well, kind of second exclusive after our channel members got to see it this morning, exclusively to our members channel. And of course we've done this just purely out of respect and for the fact that we've been given this access by the guys at Lynx Aviation to get ourselves this close and of course on board the aircraft as we did earlier on. So I think that's where we'll leave it, folks. Thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to catch us on the next show. This Sunday we will be at Cosford. That will be for members only. You're more than welcome to join us there. Go to bigjet.tv if you want to find out more about what we do, how we put your money to work, and if you want to become a Freeview member, then just hit the Freeview button, the Try Freeview button on our website, and that's where you'll be able to check that out. It's where that's the channel where most people who become channel members start out from, so it's always a good starting point. But just today's show, hopefully this has given you a good insight into what we do and our passion towards aviation, both old and new, on Big Jet TV. And a big thank you to all the staff, of course. Spen, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate your time, and we'll probably see you back here later on in the year for the Mosquito run, I'd imagine.
Yes.
They do have a Mosquito in the hangar here, folks, and it does do taxi runs as well. So we'll hopefully be making our way back up here later on in the summer to do one of those shows. So from all of us here at Lynx Aviation, thank you very much for tuning in. You've been watching Big Jet TV. Take it easy. Okay, GP, go for cut.